Highland Park, Michigan. FM 88.1 WHBR, Highland Park, WCIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
Hey, listeners, are you looking for quality hair braiders and stylists who specialize in natural hair? Then check out Cookies Braid School, located at 17600 West 8 Mile Road in Southfield. We specialize in children's braids, easy twists, Havana twists, box braids, individual, Harley twists, crochet braids, and more. And best of all, we cater to you, providing all of your hair needs. For additional information or to schedule your appointment, call 248-552-6202 or visit us on the web.
It's a real shampoo, keeping all my people unified. And be sure to download my shampoo version of email. My Sweet Lady 16, my people ride, be good to us, support them. With inspirational courses, with our download the Institute single copy of Boxy Ride and be good to us with what's going to ship. On the album, Birth of a New Nation, all available on iTunes, Amazon, and other online stores. Don't forget, Birth of a New Nation, by shampoo.
Y'all done checked everything on YouTube? Everything good? You gonna make them bean back. You in your room. Okay, let's get them there. Let's get them. Huh? Okay.
may have different views than your own, then let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another from the scriptural discussion to the Son of Man. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12 on TV 3 and 88.1 at the Basic Yard and Comcast 8. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, have the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and true meaning. So tune in to a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 WBHR Yard and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 213-868-4366, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Of course, the area code 313. That's 313-868-4366, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live. Scriptural discussion. Amen.
In the most holy name of Allah, beneficent, the most merciful, the truthful, and the most just. I greet all of you who have the hunger and thirst for the understanding of Allah's truth and righteousness, that He favored His messengers, His prophets, with measures, parts, until all of the parts made a whole. I greet those of you who hunger and thirst for that true understanding of the word of Allah. I greet you with the greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May Allah's Salaam Alaikum. I also want to warn you who do not believe in the Holy Scriptures, the absolute Word of God. You don't have a lot of time to repent. Warning you as a brother who does care for you. Listen to the word of God and follow along with me as I guide you to the understanding of it. You will bear me witness. I'm going to give Mr. Trump and some of those with him proof tonight that they better not take me for no joke. It's time for you. I said about America, if you don't care anything about this country, you have the money, you have the finances or whatnot, why don't you just leave? When you don't, if you see something in Russia or any place that's going on this planet that you think is better than what you have here, why stick around here sowing discord and dissension among these people? if you don't care anything about us, just leave. That's what I do if I go any place, a party, visit a home, visit a function or whatnot. If I don't like what's going on there, know that that same door that let me in, it'll let me out. I want the freedom to make my own choices. And I have sense enough to give you the same freedom. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that. You just can't beat. You can't come up with a better plan to the friction that goes on between man and man than what God has already shared with us. What do you want done to you? Do that to others. And it goes without saying that whatever you don't want done to you, don't do that to others. You know, they have an old saying, it's a poor dog won't wag his own tail. Huh? Generally, when a dog wags his tail, it is a signal. He's showing friendship to you. Is that right? You know, it is disheartening. It's sickening to me to see people that I looked up to, people that I remember helped to shape my mind, betraying us now. You know, a person can't betray you if you don't trust them. But if you trust them and they deliver you to your destruction or to harm, knowingly, that is a betrayal. Going to, you know, I had some young men that I was going to but those young men are more justified in their railing against me than the leadership that made us think that they were all for us. Now I find out they're only all for us if we stay put. Leave them up there and we stay here where they can pretend to care about us. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Donald Trump made the relation that he could talk past you and me constituency. Because we supposed to be stupid, you know. You know, I'm the kind of man that you ain't never, I have to explain what kind of man I am to you because ain't no other man like me. I know that offends you. But the scripture says that there's none like him. And how you know it's talking about me? Well, if God said I'm going to create a man, then ain't nobody like that man here. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to say I'm going to create one. He just said I'm going to grab one of these over here. But if he got to create one, then this one is different from the rest. You'll notice. You see a difference in me from the rest of the people already. I'm the only leader of religion or any other kind. Get out in the public and open up conference rooms and the internet and let whoever disagree with me come in and talk. Because I truly do mean it when I told you I care about you. Even if you don't care about me, they got a song that say that. Say, oh, how I love Jesus. Now, I ain't saying I'm Jesus. I am what the name Jesus means. It means Savior. Said, oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Love Jesus because he first loved me. You don't recognize love when it's right in front of you. What you think make me open up these lines and let you argue and hoorah and go on with me? You can't do that with CNN. You can't do that with TD Jakes. You can't do that with Louis Farrakhan. You can't do that with nobody but me. All of you got my phone number. You know why the rest of them scared to give you their phone number? Because they're scared you're going to call them up and cuss them out. That's the truth. I'm not afraid to give out my number, and I'm not afraid you're going to call me and curse me out. Because even white people, they know I'm not no threat to them. And yet they know I do not approve of how they have treated us. And they also know that if they don't correct themselves, I have the final word on what happens to them. The flood didn't come because Allah's word did it. Noah agreed with Allah that he go on and do it. That's when it happened. Noah said, don't leave a soul on it. As it was in the days of Noah. So now, I'm not starting this meeting out any different than the rest. Daryl and Southern Mind, we're going to leave that alone for right now. I got to tell y'all what nobody else, all these so-called wise people. That man standing up, making mockery of you. Donald Trump. Ben Carson. And Louis Farrakhan, they told me Minister Farrakhan started supporting Donald Trump. Name some of the rest of them that's been. And you know, that boy, what's his name with the hair? Don King. Don King ain't never been about nothing but some money. Charles Evans. That's the man tried to make a nuclear dump out of Jefferson County. And when I asked him, I said, Mr. Evans, you talking about bringing nuclear waste here? That's going to kill the people. He said to me, got to die from something. They had offered him some money, more than likely. You know, that's the trouble with the Negro, who is actually, Negro is just a cheap copy of the redneck white man. Anybody disagree with me? Come on in here. I'll be happy to discuss it with you. You tell a Negro, that's why I tell y'all, don't ever confess nothing of your past to people out on the street. You better go find. I'll say this much about the Catholic priest. At least he will keep your confessions in your private. You know how you go and tell somebody, don't tell nobody about this, or don't tell nobody. You can forget that. Because the minute that you done told them, you know what they gonna do? The minute they fall out with you, they gonna go and tell whatever they, with me, anyone came to me and confided in me, and then me and I agreed, you ain't gonna never hear that no more. That falls on my integrity. You see, there's certain things you can learn from this world. It's just like with lawyers. Lawyers cannot discuss their clients without that client's permission. And most of them ain't gonna do it no way. They tell you better go see him. And a priest, he's the same. But I played a song, The Snake. I played the one by Oscar Brown Jr. And from the looks of it, a day or a couple of days later, Donald Trump had it and was reciting it. I didn't really tell you the whole scoop on it, but I'm going to tell you the scoop on it now. I need to make this clear to you. Now, I want you to observe Donald Trump. And, unlike...
I read this the other day, and I said, wow, that's...
Unlike other people, my attention falls on anything. Allah is with me. Whatever my attention falls on, he helps me analyze it. Remember, he said, most people, they ain't even thought about the fact that, you hear these people who are spiritually ignorant. Ignorant means unknowledgeable. They don't really understand. It's not an insult to call a person ignorant unless they are not. for a man to call me spiritually ignorant, that's an insult. Anything you allege in the way of accusation against anyone, you cannot prove. You had no right to say. And if you know you don't have any proof, then when you say it, it is tantamount to telling a lie. Because you know you can't prove it if someone says prove it. The way you cover yourself, Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave you that. Not a one of you can get up and talk like this. He said, I'm the only man of your kind who can get out here and talk like this. He said, and not a one of you can do it unless you say what I said. Said this. The messenger said that. But you know, the ego always, you know, I told you the Negro is a carbon copy of he's a cheap copy of a redneck white man. And that's just the truth. He always talking when he should be listening. And when he should talk, he talks too much. And if you offer him a correction, he considers it an insult. So if God ain't with you, you better stay away from the Negro. So I want you to listen. And see, with you, it was over after you heard it. With me, you know, sometimes I even be dreaming about this stuff people say. Just like, you know, when you sleep, actually the mind is not asleep. The body is asleep. I was a little boy, and everybody had spinning tops. I don't think they make spinning tops anymore. But spinning top is a little deal like a nail in the tip of it. And it's round, it's a little cone-shaped top. And you could wrap your string around it, and you could throw it a certain way, and it would hit the ground and just keep spinning. And we call them spinning tops. And everybody, you know, a lot of the older brothers, I'd see them picking that thing up and throw it down, and it would hit the ground, and it would hum. It was spinning so fast. Every time mine hit the ground, it rolled. It rolled. And the only way I could spin mine is throw it underhand and let it fall down and start spinning. And I was, that really bothered me. It bothered me so much. So I went to bed one night thinking over the spinning top. I woke up the next day and it had came to me how to do it. And I didn't say all praise is due to Allah, but I knew that, you know, it came to me at night while I was sleeping. But I wasn't aware of Islam at that time. But when I got out there again, I could do it just like the rest of them. And so I could, you know, we used to play peg. You know, you throw your top down and people take turns trying to hit it in the top and split it. And you'd have to go buy another one, but you know, that was the game. so anyway, we as I was listening to Donald Trump, what he did to the Republican Party, at least what appeared to be done to them. But when I started looking at the history of how the Republican Party had treated the first black president, none of them are innocent. There may be some that's not quite as guilty as the others, but they let it happen. You see, they were openly, matter of fact, they had already said that their number one goal was to make him a one-term president. I'd never heard them say that about no other president, and you hadn't either. We know exactly what that was about. They were encouraging Donald Trump. So what was the snake reading about? Check this out.
So I read this the other day and I said, wow, that's really amazing. It's really incredible. And it's the snake lyric. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. Interesting. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the...
Why did he pick that spot to say interesting? Hey, you didn't think about that, did you? Nah, think about it now. Listen now. I'm going to start it over.
So I read this the other day and I said, wow, that's really amazing. That's really incredible. And it's the snake lyric. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. Interesting. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Oh, well, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. In, oh, tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh, tender woman. The vicious snake. She wrapped him up cozy in a curvature silk and then laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. Now she hurried home from work, and that night, as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken and revived. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. Now she clutched him.
Now, in the song, it didn't say vicious snake. It simply said, cried the snake. Do you understand? I mean, but if you want to be a dog, a vicious dog is toughest than a little, just a dog. Huh? Right? Yeah. So he put vicious snake there. Hold on a minute. There's somebody calling me from Pomona. They checked this. Guess they thought about it. But now he leading up to something. And getting serious here. You ain't never seen him that serious. That didn't strike you as odd? Let's see here. I mean, it's odd to see him taking something so serious. He took out his glasses. He don't even take out no glasses to read the teleprompter and stuff. He ain't never took out no glasses to read nothing that I can remember. He sure took them out on that. See, I remember he said when, what's that man's name that was running, used to be governor of Texas? Rick Perry? He said Rick Perry put them glasses on to make him look more intelligent. So, oh yeah, I got a good memory. You'd be surprised at things I remember what y'all say. You remember what the book said, every idle word that men shall speak? What's going to happen? Yeah. The day of judgment. So let's go on.
To her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in, by now you might have died. She stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bit me, heavens why. You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Sense to anybody? Does that make any sense?
Look at his face. When he's asking them, does that make sense to anybody? Does that make sense? Who is he talking to? He sure wasn't talking to you.
He's talking to the Republican Party.
He ain't talking to the Republican Party. He talking to the Ku Klux Klan, the people that put him where he is because of something he was getting ready to do. He wasn't going in no black churches before he put that out there. I didn't hear you. But after that, you saw him start going into black churches, right? He was letting his constituency know. Now, you see this song, do you get what I'm about to do here? What that snake said about that silly woman. Now, let's go back and start over. Let me walk you through it.
So I read this the other day, and I said, wow, that's really amazing. It's really incredible. And it's the snake lyric. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake.
Saw a poor, half-frozen snake. You notice, here's the poll numbers that he had been getting. It was just about frozen at a certain amount. So next thing you see him doing now, he's letting his people know, look, don't pay no attention to the fact that I'm going to these Negroes and Mexicans and all these other people. You're going to see me go into these Negroes' churches. And I'm going to ask them to take me in. And you see they taking him in too. Who took him in to the church? The preacher brought him in there, didn't he? Now, I ain't going to ask how much he paid him. Minister Farrakhan speaking up for him and speaking down about President Obama. I'm not going to ask how much none of these people getting paid. They may not be getting paid nothing. But Donald Trump is a known racist. So what are they doing? But you know, we tender-hearted people. Yeah, you don't believe we tender-hearted? Remember when Dylan Roof murdered them black people in them churches? What did the church members come out and say? I forgive you. Huh? Take me in, tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman. Cried, what did he say? The vicious snake. Now, at the end, he gave him the punchline and then told him, now, does that make sense to anybody? He's a known racist. He got no better sense than to go up there and vote a known racist into the White House to be the president of the United States. When he bites you, you knew damn well he was a snake before you voted him in. Now that's what he was telling his buddies. Letting them know, don't fall out with me when you see me going in these churches here. And he said, and ask them, does that make sense to anybody? You know he wasn't talking to you. He's talking about you, thinking he was talking past you. You just don't know. You done forgot who said they was going to be my keeper. You know what your keeper is? Your keeper is the mind that's in you. If Allah made a promise to me, he said, I will keep thee. This is in Revelation. You turn to it. So I'm going to show you some other stuff here. You know, I'm not going to let, it's like the lady told me a long time ago. She said, you going to hell with your eyes wide open. And I thought about it. I said, yeah, that's the way to go if you go to hell. Well, what is the point of having the keys of hell if you're blind? You ever seen a blind man that could look through go through a ring of keys and use them? No. So since I have the keys of hell and of death, according to the scriptures, naturally I'm going to make a visit to hell. I'll let you out. That's what I got the key for. On the other hand, I can lock you up too. They got a song, a little nursery rhyme, that London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Take the keys and lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. You remember that? So, let's see here. In the 3rd chapter and the 10th verse, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. You know, when you're talking about something that's going to take 4,000 years before it come to pass, and you start talking about this is what's going to happen in 4,000 years, or in 2,000 more years, or in 1,400 more years, you can't be in no hurry. Is that right? You got to have some patience to be talking about what's something going to take place thousands of years in the future. Huh? So God said, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. Yeah. I will keep thee. You see, because I've kept his word in me, to eat it up. He didn't tell me to vomit it back out. He told me to eat up the book and then go and speak with the words. You know why he told me to speak with his words? What's another word for speak? Sir? Recite. We shall make thee recite so thou shalt not forget. That's what he told me. See, he didn't leave nothing to chance. He knew I would eventually understand it all, because the mind that he was creating in me is self-guiding. You see, just like the scriptures, they are self-explaining. They explain themselves, just like I just showed you. I just quoted them. We shall make you recite, so that you shall not forget. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Yes. So he told me, he said, behold, I come quickly. He said, hold that fast which thou hast. What's another way of saying hold that fast? Hold fast to what I have taught you. When you fasten something, you lock it down, don't you? All right. He told me to hold fast to that which he gave me. He said, that no man take thy crown. Huh? Yeah. You notice when a heavyweight, you've seen boxing, when two heavyweights get in the ring to compete, what are they competing over? If it's a title match, they competing over the crown. You seen anybody come in here and win a battle with me in this class? That's what they call them, you know. They put them in classes. Bantamweight, welterweight, lightweight, was that middleweight, heavyweight. You got to be a heavyweight to come in here. Of course, I will take on bantamweights too. I wear all them crowns. On his head are many crowns. So they mad at me now. Donald Trump wish he hadn't read that now. And if you're smart, you will let that snake stay frozen at 40%. and you will support someone you don't know. I don't know Miss Clinton. And regardless to what you see on these internet, all these people, they don't know her personally either. President Obama knows her personally. Joe Biden knows her personally. And so does Bernie Sanders. And all three of them have counseled me to support her. No, they didn't do it personally. They did it like I talk. They did it on national and international television. And a former president, George H.W. Bush, he said he's voting for Hillary Clinton. And he's a Republican, but the first thing he is an American. And all you liars out there talking about you are Americans and whatnot, and you hate half of the citizens of America, you are a lie and the truth ain't in you. And the Bible say the same thing. The one thing that we all got in common that grew up in America is the school system of America. That made us brethren of sorts. And any man that says he loves God and hates his brother is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Now, you might not have been my spiritual brother, but we sure were natural brothers. When the question was asked me, who is the father of your country? I said, George Washington. That's the same thing a white child says. When they taught us American history, they didn't teach us white American history or black American history. They just called it American history. Is that right? What's wrong? The proverbial cat got your tongue? Won't you come in here and say what you have to say to me? Come, tell me what it is you think I am. A bunch of cowards, man. I don't have no respect for somebody who, when they behind your back, they got plenty to say. When they get a chance to confront you face to face, that's what the youngsters call it. You know, it's funny. It seemed like it don't seem like it was 40, and I'm getting slow here. 48 years ago, I was sitting up in the high school bleachers at Jordan High School, listening to Jim Brown and them tell us about what the scoop is. I'm sitting up there, a lot of us were sitting up there. Old people don't know what they're talking about. We the one didn't know. That's the truth. But at least some of what he was saying, it registered. You know, attention to me, young brother and sisters. Don't be listening to these old Uncle Toms who will support a racist just because President Obama done stole all of their attention. They was getting all the attention before he became president. Now you can't hardly hear from none of them. They're mad as hell. and hiding it. Jealous. And let me finish. First, I want to know how many of you all, I'm not accurate about who Donald Trump was talking to. Old woman and a snake, and then it's just coincidence. He started going in black churches, and the scene sitting there just like your boy Don King standing up there talking about if you was rich, you was a rich nigga. If you was poor, you was a poor nigga. If you was smart, you was a smart nigga, but you still a nigga. And Donald Trump sitting back there looking up at him as approvingly. Yeah, I remember the messenger said this about us. He said, if you are a coward, you ought to go home and kill your family and kill yourself next. Now, I'm gonna stand up here and watch you lead my people vote for a man who hates us openly, to declare him better than President Obama, better than Hillary Clinton. And even the things that they say about the poor lady. Hillary Clinton ain't never been president. Just watch this. Let me show you. These people, man, a brass monkey ain't got nothing on them. Now you just let me let you see some of this stuff here. First, I'm gonna let you hear what Minister Farrakhan had to say about President Obama. Listen to this. And anyone who wants to, look, it is very unjust to speak about a person. And if someone has something to say in defense of that person, to not let them say anything. You can come in here and put up any kind of defense you want as long as you are willing to answer questions as well as ask them. You know, I've had people think that they should question my integrity and question my credentials, but they don't think that I have the right to question their credentials to question my credentials. You see, I know something that never going to get away with coming to me in an unjust way, because I don't go to people in an unjust way. See, I know from living in the world, I didn't just exist in this world, I lived in it. Live if you don't know what's going on. I was paying attention when I heard them say a man has a right to a trial by a jury of his own peers. Some of y'all think peers mean somebody that's just sitting there around you, people that you live around. People that you live around are not always your peers. If you want to take a doctor's license, lay people can't do that. You coming in there talking about, I don't believe what you did was needed. I don't believe that's the kind of operation my son needed, or my daughter, or I didn't need that operation you gave me. But that don't mean squat. Until you can get another doctor to say that that man is right, that operation was not needed, and this is why. Now, when another doctor condemning you, you got a problem. But before he can be considered as a qualified expert, the opposing side has a right to check his credentials. Do you understand? So for you to come in here thinking that you're supposed to set up some kind of court telling me I am the Son of Man, I am not the Son of Man, or whatever, who are you supposed to be? If I give understanding of something, for your understanding to be considered equally with mine, just prove that you are equal to me in your knowledge of the Holy Scriptures. And in your knowledge, for if you understand one prophet, you understand all of them. If you can have an intelligent conversation concerning the practice of medicine with any MD, you can talk to all MDs. If you can converse intelligently with one architect, you can talk to all architects. You don't come in here and try to fool me. The messenger answered that question. Can the devil fool a Muslim? No, sir. Yes. You can't fool me, boy. Run. Let me let you hear something here. Now you listen to this and look at it.
So you Democrat. You've been in that party a long time. Answer me. What did you get? You got a president. He's worried about his legacy.
You remember once when Farrakhan was talking about he wasn't going to let them paint a picture of him, terrorist or some kind of race hater or something like that, and he wanted to go before Congress and whatnot, you wasn't going to taint his legacy to his grandchildren? Huh? You know what your legacy actually is? Is you know how you run a relay? All the each part of it. A leg, huh? Meaning that's your part to run. So each man that is handed the scepter of the United States enters into his leg. his watch. For you to be saying, for anyone to say that they would like to undo any good that any president established. It's an insult to all of them. You know, in the song America the Beautiful, that's part of that song. It says, America, America, shed his grace on thee. I know it's an and crown, but to crown thy good with brotherhood. Here this man talking about taking health care, just abolishing the health care of millions of American people. And then this man, Farrakhan, stand up there and belittles that. That's nothing. Ask the people that have health care now that couldn't get it before, is it nothing? But anyway, I want you to listen. I'm going to try not to cut him off because I can always play it back. So let me let you hear this. Let me put it on another one. Because that media player, it don't like me to back nothing up. Matter of fact, I might already have it here already. Just a minute. That ain't it. Just hold on. I want you to hear these things. I want you to see for yourself. Jealousy and envy are two things that you don't want to hold inside of you because it destroys you from within.
So you're Democrat. You've been in that party a long time. Answer me. What did you get? You got a president. He's worried about his legacy. You want Hillary to get in to protect your legacy because Trump said the minute he get in, he's going to reverse the Affordable Care Act. Because that's your signature achievement. Mm-hmm. To show you how hateful the enemy is, he hates that you achieve what you did achieve. So he said, I'm going to tear it up when I get in. So he don't want his legacy destroyed, Mr. President. Let the man do if he get in what he wants. Because he's not destroying your legacy. If your legacy is bound up in an Affordable Care Act that only affects a few million people and they're trying to make it really difficult for those of us who signed up.
Hear that? A few million people. I wasn't aware that 15, 20 million people is a few million people. I thought a few meant 3 or whatever. Millions? This coming from a man who claims that he have some salvation for one of us, but considers millions of people as Not much. So you have to be careful what you let fly out your mouth. And that's the problem when you surround yourself with people in your judgment. You see why I let people come in here and argue with me? You ain't never seen the back of your head. What you get is a reflection. So when someone else who's looking at the back of your head reflects that to you, you do well to listen. Because mirrors, some of the mirrors that you look in, they distort you. Is that right? Well, how you gonna know it's distorting you if you don't look at it? You know if a person is seeing something in me that's not right if I won't listen to them. And ask them, well, what make you say that? You know, when the man asked me about, hey, man, what you doing with the flag there? What you done? It ain't my place to tell him ain't none of your business. If I didn't want it to be your business, I shouldn't have let it come out in front of you. I made it your business when I put it in front of you. Is that right? And you notice, anything that I have done, I answered questions about what that flag is. Is that right? Here, this man sitting up here trying to trivialize what the Republicans started. And I'm going to show you how fickle he is. When President Obama was first running, he was praising President Obama. That's because he didn't think he was going to win. When the man got in there, look, man, if you ain't paid no attention, President Obama done got the attention of all the black people since he's been in office. And some of us are happy and proud of him. I happen to be one. Others are not only jealous of him themselves, they have went and actually slandered the poor man. Put in the minds of the people that President Obama hadn't did anything for us. You don't think that stopping the end to the Wall Street crisis helped us? You don't think that going against what they said he should do, he bailed out the automobile industry? You don't think that helped some black people keep their jobs? How you thinking, man? Now, you want President Obama to do what you couldn't do for the past. I'm talking about Minister Farrakhan now. When Minister Farrakhan started, as he said, trying to rebuild something in 1978, President Obama wasn't but 17 years old. He was a young man just getting out of high school. Minister Farrakhan been now at what he doing for 38 years. Now you name what he has done for us. Name it. This is y'all's chance. Come on in and tell us about the $4 million restaurant that you put up there. A lot of the believers couldn't even afford to eat there when it was first opened.
Absolutely nothing.
You know, I'm like this. You know, I tell crooked police, I tell the straight ones, it's not up to me to go out there and condemn them people. It's up to you to go out there. Let the police go and say this man ain't got no business on the force. When that one sister said it, they got mad at her. Just like a lot of these hypocrites mad at me for telling the truth. Look at all of the money that black people have given to you, Minister Farrakhan. What do the ones who gave it have to show? And you talking about President Obama? He done did more in 7 years or 8 years than you did in 38. Now accuse me of being jealous of anybody. What do I have to be jealous of anybody for? Man had almost 2 million men come to Washington, D.C. Basically, I know it's a lot of the preachers helped, but it was basically to come to support Minister Farrakhan. If he had any wisdom, chance to show it, what came out of that million man march, other than another one to take up millions of more dollars? When the last time you heard of some murders and stuff going on around Fayette, Mississippi, and Jefferson County, Mississippi, black people shooting each other down? When last time you heard anything like that? The very presence of Allah with me here has made this place more peaceful. I'm not boasting. I'm just telling the truth. When they put me in jail behind my own baby, because I wouldn't give my baby to the state. Rahima, come here, baby. When she got old enough, she came right on back here with her daddy. That's how Allah show you he with you. That right, baby?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, you can go sit down. I think I was in jail about, what, 3 months? Over there. And then number told the judge I wasn't going to give my baby to no state. Allah fixed all of them. So I ain't worried about nothing that you think you got planned against me. I'm going to tell you this. Whenever you get up, let me tell you something. Whenever you get up to start making judgments about people, you put yourself in a position to be judged. Because if he can talk about President Obama and suggest that President Obama, the only thing we got was a black man in office, and to say that that man suggests that that man ain't did nothing, that's very unjust, very wrong. And then turn around and talk about how much respect he has for a man who got all these fraud cases against him and got a case where he's been sued in federal court for rape. Man called himself the king of debt and got more bankruptcies than Carter got liver pills. And you want to put him in charge of the United States of America. No diplomatic skills at all. And I'm going to tell you something about standing up there talking about, I'm not a politician. That ain't nothing but a play on words, man. The minute you entered into the political arena office, you became a politician. Unless the presidency of the United States is not a political office. Usually, when a man is serious about running as the chief executive of the government of America, you would expect him to have been a participant to see how the government works. That's why most of your presidents were once senators. No. You know, I've been told you, I'm a long way from being the dummy you think I am. And you are a long way from being the intelligent person that you thought you were. I ain't gonna have to put up with you forever. You come on out the closet, all you racists and all you secret enemies of our people. You come on out. And ain't nobody gonna pick it. Don't you pick up no guns, you ain't got to pick up nothing. You're gonna find out who God is. Oh, let's listen to this now. Now he's there running President Obama down.
That's not your legacy. But I just want to tell you, Mr. President, you from Chicago and so am I. I go out in the...
Now, I'm talking about he from Chicago. I grew up in LA, but I ain't from LA. I'm born right here in Leland, Mississippi. But anyway, you know, I can get with that. I'll leave that alone. You know, okay, he live in Chicago now, so he from Chicago. Good is him being in Chicago if Chicago got murders and stuff. They talking about all these murders and stuff around where he living. You don't see something kind of strange about that? If you say Allah is with you, it shows things of you. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was here in Chicago, it wasn't no murder capital. He been at what he doing since 1978, which is approximately 38 years. And the place where he living is the most dangerous place in the country. according to what they're saying. But listen.
Street with the people. I visited the worst neighborhood. I talked to the kids. And while I was out there talking to them, they said, you know, Farrakhan.
He said he talked to the gangs. Well, where's the result? Why don't you tell them to put them guns down if they listen to you? Stop telling them how great they are when they out here doing things that God has condemned. People, let me tell you something. Our teenagers, they don't need no friends. They need parents. What, you done forgot what you was when you was a teenager? I didn't hardly agree with nothing my parents wanted to do. Everything I wanted to do, they just wound up, most of it, they telling me no. And one of my favorite sayings was, I'd be glad when I get grown. I'd take that back. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have been in no hurry to get grown. I'd have enjoyed, and I'd have took time and learned a lot of things that they was telling me, and I'd have dug deeper into it. I'd have been wouldn't have got as much experience about certain things that some experiences that I had, I wouldn't have had. And, you know, but can't undo that. But I can't look at young men and see them out of order. Just like most of the youngsters now, they don't have any respect for their elders. You know, most of them don't even respect their own mothers. They talk to their mother like they talking to one of their buddies. Talk to their mother, and if their father's around, you know, it's sad. And that's never going to change as long as you got leaders out here misleading them, telling them how great they are, when they need to be telling them that, look, you sorry doing what you're doing here. That's not manhood. Your people can't even feel safe around you. And you think that makes you a man? No, that makes you a target. You want to show how much man you are, start protecting your people. Make your people feel safe. And that don't mean go around hurting other folks. Let anybody who come around you feel safe. That will make you a great man. That don't mean you got to be a coward. They still should know that don't take my kindness for fear of you or weakness. Because if you attack me, you'll see another side of me. So, you know, we're not immune to getting angry with you. More than just you saying something we don't like. If a man talking at you and saying things you don't like to hear, then what you want to walk up to him and hit him for? Talk back. Even in the Western days, these people went, you talk about jackass backwards. Even in the Western days, if you shot, according to them, what they showed us on TV, if you shot a man and he didn't have a gun, you was going to be hung. Of course, I guess it's always been open season on us, though, huh? I'm warning you, host. Really paying attention, you would know that it's closed, because every time something like that happens, you see something else happen to other people. You better check yourself. Now, let me let him finish here.
The president ain't never come. Could you get him to come and look after us people? The worst neighborhood. I talked to the kids. And while I was out there talking to them, they said, you know, Farrakhan, the president ain't never come. Could you get him to come and look after us?
Tell him to tell the president to come look after them. What that say about him? That's as good as saying you ain't doing nothing. So why don't you tell him to come in and see what he, but you know, I mean, let's face it. He done had 38 years and has accomplished what? And now they're mad at me. I'm saying this because, look, let me tell you something. I'm not like Minister Farrakhan or none of these other people. I would be more than happy to let him come in here and host my broadcast so that he would not feel slighted. And I have some questions I would like to ask him because, look, these people are call themselves competing with me. Well, if you want to compete with me, why don't you come in here and let's talk? But I'm doing a lot more than talking.
Your legacy, Mr. President, is in the street with your suffering people. And if you can't go and see about it.
Now, let me show you how foolish that statement was. Has he forgotten that President Obama's mother was white? Which makes white people his people too. But when you become the president of the United States, all the people in the United States is your people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He said, it actually hurts to see our people, and some of them as leaders, over there begging the white man to give them something. He said, give you nothing. You can give yourself something now. What else is he going to give you? That is the freedom to go and do for yourself. Now, you don't need to blame him now. Look, I'm going to tell you something. Since President Obama has been president, I have seen black people being in the television and some everywhere. And I have seen most of us have a greater degree of the right kind of pride. And I'm not going to say that we put him in there by ourselves. Some white people helped put him in there. And they know that I'm not talking about, this ain't about no racism. This is about crown you good with brotherhood. Now, after he get through running President Obama down, just wait.
And don't worry about your legacy. Because the white people that you serve so well, they deserve your legacy. The hell they will. But you didn't earn your legacy with us. We put you there. You fought for it.
Didn't I tell you he was jealous? That's jealousy talking. Now, what is a speech like that made for? I mean, here, he's not president. And he's looking at someone who is above him in stature, in office. And that young man, look, I'm 11 years older than President Obama. I'm proud of that young man. Minister Farrakhan is what, 82 now? That man, he's almost 28 years older than that man. And he's practicing that. I mean, Willie Lynch put the old one against the young one. Encouraging President Obama and acknowledging, man, you took a lot of hell from these people and you stood your ground and you went on and you stayed presidential and you did what was best for the country to the best of your ability, considering all of the hatred and the stumbling blocks that people tried to put in front of you, and you still kept it together. Ought to be shaking that man's hand if he could and telling him how proud he is of him. Because I'm very proud of him. And you know, I understand exactly what his wife meant when she said for the first time in her life she was proud of her country. I even developed some pride in this country because of what I saw. When Jimmy Carter came out and called them, when nobody's saying nothing, he called it just what it was, racism. I was proud of him. And I was ashamed of some of these that were in positions to say something that looked like me and wasn't saying a word. Now you want to trot out in front of our people racists who, when he was even asked to denounce the Ku Klux Klan and call them what the word deplorable, he wouldn't do it. Then he made a joke out of it. How are all you deplorables? And he started laughing. Then he comes out and tells them, I'm as good as say to him, look, now you listen to this poem here, and I got to do this. I got to go in here to these tender-hearted Negroes and play to them because I want to get some of them to vote for me and thaw me out, make my numbers go up. Don't worry, I'm going to bite their behinds good when it's over with. And then I'll be able to tell them, and you will too. You knew that I was a racist in the beginning. Huh? So sit down and shut up. Huh? Yeah. I'd be interested in looking at all these big shots and I use that term loosely, like jumbo shrimp. You know, big shots as related to you and me. There ain't nothing to him, because if there was anything to him, he would know better than to come up to them trying to bribe them or talk them into supporting him. You think Donald Trump would come to me and ask for my support after what I done saw him doing, disrespecting us all of these years? Has he ever apologized to us? If he was going to come out there and say, well, the president of the United States was born in America, now that's the end of that. Well, then, he didn't even know how to say, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. And if he'd have said it, he wouldn't have meant it. No, I'm just telling you, people like him, he hear me talking about him now. Just like Grover Norquist heard me talking. He got his man that he wanted, though. Somebody with good dexterity. Now all he had to do is put him in there. And he'll rubber stamp whatever they want done, because ain't no telling how much money he owe out and can't pay back and about to go bankrupt completely. So they done told him if he get in there, they'll probably expunge his debts and stuff. And he can get it, he can go on and oh man, you just don't know these people. You know, there's some crooks out here. Allah see them though. Yeah. I done told you, if you don't care nothing about this country, you should leave. I would tell you that like a young man would tell a man that he see messing over his mama. You better leave my mother alone. You see, that's what I would tell you. You need to leave while you can.
Rights of gay people, you fought for the rights of this people and that people. You feel your people are suffering and dying.
He has fought for us. He wants President Obama to leave the presidency and become an activist, which shows he's not nowhere close to the level of understanding that he needs to be if he wants to make judgments about the president of the United States. The president of the United States is not a dictator. The president of the United States is the chief executive, but all laws that govern this nation, they're not controlled by him. He's the one that enforces the laws. The Congress of the United States is the one, if you want to change laws, you have to go through the Congress. And your representatives. But we don't have anything stopping us now. We are our worst enemies. And all you have to do is look at. I mean, I didn't like the way Rudy Giuliani tried to make it sound like we the only people in America here that kill up our own people. White people kill more white people than anybody. But that's in every community, because most of the communities, you are surrounded by people who look like you. So naturally, whatever crimes that's committed against you is going to generally be someone who looks like you, which shows you how much alike we all are. We all got the same wicked mind. Rob your brother, shoot your brother. And if you get a chance, shoot somebody who you don't consider your brother. Make yourself feel better. Let's go further. Yes. Why don't they come in the room and talk to me? What is it, brother? They from overseas? Okay, go ahead. Just a moment. Is it on?
Yes, sir, it's on.
Try it now. Try it now. Talk into it.
Yes, sir. Testing. 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 Testing.
Okay, try it now. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. He said, ask, why do you think Minister Farrakhan ignores the sun?
For the same reason everybody else that got so much disdain and dislike of me is because they can't deal with me. You know, that's not a big secret. If they could deal with me in this arena, in conversation, they would have been in here. You heard what Royal said when we got through. He said this will never happen again. He didn't want to talk to me no more. So I'm not the kind of person who just talk at you. Anyone who wants to talk with me. Now, I wouldn't even brought him up if he wasn't out here running down the president and Miss Clinton for Donald Trump. Let me let you finish hearing this.
What your legacy is, and you failed to do what should have been done, but it's never too late. You, like Jimmy Carter, can be a better president after you leave the restrictions of your White House and come on back to the hood and start organizing like you did. And we
Has he did that? Doing 38 years. You remember that power program? And working for economic rebirth? Where is it at now? I didn't hear you.
I heard he sold it. It's sold product.
But he started that as though that he was going to do something with that. What did he do with it? Called 1 million men to Washington, and what did he do with them? Just told them to go back and join something. I would have been glad to help. But he didn't ask. And you know what happens when you go someplace uninvited. I could have told him what he needed to do when he had all those men there ready to give him a chance. I dare you to give me a chance like that. I will do for you. I'll do plenty. The only thing you'd be mad about is that you didn't get with me sooner. Anyway, let's let him finish that.
Your influence all over the world. Let's make a new and better people. And from us, if it's Allah's will, we can make a new and better America. Thank you for listening, and may Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Now you've heard all of that. Running the president down and then talking about he can, what he can do, gonna tell him what to do when he haven't even taken his own advice. It's just like when he said to me, as a young man, I was listening to him. You know, when he was in the nation following the messenger, right after he started doing what he was doing, after he left Wallace, because at one time he was advising us to follow Wallace. Teaching that the messenger wasn't really no messenger, he was a social reformer, and that what happened was the white people gave us a downer by teaching us that we was not nothing. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to counteract that downer, he gave us an upper and told us we was God. And in other words, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was lying. That's what he was planting in the minds of the people. Now let one of them come in and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Then when he was teaching and honoring Malcolm, at this dinner they had for Malcolm, they was to honor his memory. He, at the end of that speech, don't organize black people to march, organize black people to build. Lo and behold, who's later on, 15, 20 years later, organizing a march? The very one who told me, don't do that. So, I want you to hear what he had to say about Miss Clinton. But first, I want you to hear something about what he, just a moment here. Let me find it. Yes.
How many of you voting for Hillary? You don't have to raise your hands. I do not blame you for wanting a female president. But that's a wicked woman.
Now, what happens when you try to glean, usually when someone says somebody is low down or wicked, they start telling you why, huh?
Now listen, you can vote for her, but vote for her with knowledge. She can be sweet.
Didn't he just now say that God can really help his people once he's not president no more? How can he, on the one hand, call himself giving a few props to President Obama, and then on the other hand, President Obama, the one said we should support Hillary, didn't he? Well, if Hillary is wicked, what does that make President Obama for trying to get us to support her? Now, is Donald Trump good? But listen to what he says about Miss Clinton and see if you just listen.
But so can you. And you know when you sweet with playing a game. You. And you know when you sweet, she can be sweet. But so can you. And you know when you sweet with playing a game.
Did you hear what he just said? You know when you sweet, you playing a game. Well, how would he know that? Well, what is he doing? He's projecting. He's projecting what's in his mind when he's being sweet. He's playing a game. Just listen.
All of a sudden she know about Trayvon Martin. All of a sudden, the boy been dead nearly 2 years. Now she's talking about him like she met the mother and these white people, it's a Satan.
Let me tell you something. Is he aware that the Secretary of State is a job that kept Miss Clinton moving from one country to another? Miss Clinton wasn't the one who you go to when that Trayvon Martin stuff happened. That was the president was the one that was speaking out about that. But yet, the business of America still had to be going on. Secretary of State's job was to deal with the stuff that was given to her as far as the embassies. Didn't they say they have 280 embassies? That was what her concern was, among other things. Do you understand? You know, but now he still haven't got to why she's wicked. He said she's wicked, right? Well, because she said, and during the campaign or something about she met with Trayvon Martin's mother and some other people. Just because people don't broadcast everything that they doing of good, don't mean that they ain't doing nothing. Most people that do good and go broadcasting it, they're just doing it to be seen. Just listen.
You fall for that crap. Most of you that went to jail for having a little blunt in your pocket, they arranged that. The Clintons. Mass incarceration came about under the Clintons. Don't forget that.
President. And if you're going to say that that came about under the Clintons, well, did the Clintons make that law? Or was it the representatives in Congress? And why don't they tell us who all voted for it? I think it was mostly carried by everybody. And at the time it was happening, most people in the country approved of it. This is a democratic country, right? Against the majority of people of, that's what happens, huh? But you see, told us why she's wicked. Are you aware that when you accuse a person of something that you can't prove, the accusation falls back on you? Just a moment. Let me show you where I'm headed with this.
They call my young gangbangers super predators.
Young gangbangers. Did you hear that? Yes. They call his young gangbangers super predators. If you walk around the community terrorizing your own people, what do you expect to be called? You preying on your own people. Your heart, man. And still, how can you look at someone who looks like you and don't recognize that you should have some kind of natural feeling of caring about them? And if you don't have sense enough to care about somebody who looks like you, who in their right mind think that you have sense enough to care about somebody who don't? You may fear somebody who don't look like you, but you don't care about them. It's just like a man who would sell his people out for a chicken and a biscuit. Now it's probably for a few $100,000 a check. He lives a miserable life because he can't come out in the light and boast about how he made his living. He made his living by selling his people out. And then he justifies it. When he finds someone, he tries to justify his position. When he finds somebody who didn't sell out, he tries to sling some mud on them because people that trusted him, he let them down. I trusted him a long time before you did. He let me down in 1975. When he stood up there and talked about the messenger chose Wallace Muhammad to come out the messenger said Allah would give him a son. That wasn't the son he was talking about. He promised all the prophets a son, and that son is standing here. Him and some of the rest of them, all the rest of them, standing up there pledging, he pledging his allegiance and the allegiance of all of those who was supposedly on the East Coast. Like the Western minister called himself pledging my allegiance to Wallace. I said, that man don't pledge my allegiance to nobody. I didn't write no letter telling him I believed in Wallace. About him, and I didn't like his attitude in the first place. He was arrogant. At a time when people grieving over the loss of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he's standing up there talking like he's somebody that we supposed just naturally accept. I never did accept him. No. That's not to say that I disagreed with everything he had to say, but I knew he was no builder. I knew he could not build a loving nation. He had the wrong attitude. No, he did just what he was born for. He tore it down. The only thing was left was the foundation, which was the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. As Allah said, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee. And he kept me. And now, just listen.
And Black Lives Matter put it to her. She didn't know how to handle that.
Donald Trump and them didn't even want to talk to Black Lives Matter, and didn't. Is that right? I remember he used to say things about W.D. Muhammad. And later they came to an agreement that he said that he told W.D. Muhammad that they agreed that he would not say anything else negative about W.D. Muhammad as long as W.D. Muhammad didn't say any more negative things about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, back in the 90s, you know, the problem with going way back is that if you're going to do that, you should also go back to the mindset of all of the other people. Don't just single out Miss Clinton. Because if you go back to that time, I'm them saying nothing about that. You didn't hear no black people complaining. Hindsight is always 20/20. There's a lot of things that if you had it to do over again, you wouldn't do it the same way. Now you want to come in here and run this poor lady down because in hindsight we see that certain things that it wasn't just her. It was a whole lot of people involved in that. It was, what about the caucus? You try to put all that on just Hillary Clinton? There's enough blame to go around. No, I ain't going for that. It's like later on, he even tries to say Hillary Clinton manipulated President Obama, which is a lie. When President Obama first got elected, him and John Boehner was good friends. You see, they made a video together on the last dinner. But when John Boehner starts saying to the president, this is what we need to do. Now, and this was right after he got elected. The first time. John Boehner said, he started telling him, yeah, we're gonna need to do this and we need to do that. And the president looked at him and said, well, John, I won. Way of saying, you don't forget, I'm the president now. This is not a senator or a congressman talking to another congressman. You're now addressing the president of the United States. Don't forget that. John said he got up and walked out. And it was downhill from there. You know, in other words, they thought they was going to be able to manipulate him into taking the fall for that stuff. And they found out he was not the fool that they thought he was. Most people think because you're quiet or because you don't do a lot of reacting that you must not be too bright. And they found out that they misread him. Do you understand? Okay, just like a lot of y'all misread me. You see?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
A man named Chris Anderson said, and what has the so-called Son of Man done?
Well, you go online and look. Yeah, we on that. Just send him to our website. You don't need to ask me nothing like that. Just send him the website. I know time for that.
Call you a super predator that has no conscience, no sensitivity, like you're a dog, you're an animal.
Ask a lot of those who some of us put in the ground. If you could, do you suppose the people that some of them that killed were over speaking to call them super predators? I mean, I'm just trying to show you, I mean, that ain't about nothing. I'm still waiting on him to get to what makes Hillary Clinton wicked.
We got to bring you to heel. You, my young brothers, this is what she said about you. And she didn't just say it. It became law and policy of the U.S. government under Bill Clinton and her wife, his wife, and now she's apologizing. But apologizing can't bring back.
Donald Trump ain't never apologized for nothing. For all his racism and his disrespect. But he don't require nothing of him. Huh? That's why I want to know about how much he got paid. But let's see.
The broken families. Apologizing can't bring back those that have in prison life. Apologizing. She, in her person, orchestrated the destruction of Libya and the killing of Muammar Gaddafi.
As the Secretary of State, she didn't make no decision about what was going to take place in Libya. And as I recall, the only thing that President Obama and them did was stop him from bombing his own people, who didn't have no air force to fight back with. And they even reasoned that if they let that happen, the history will maybe say the U.S. stood by again and let a man murder hundreds of thousands of his own people, like Hitler did. And then some of them in Congress that was trying to condemn it tried to say that when the president wouldn't lead the way, they say he's leading from behind. Remember that? And the only thing they did was created no-fly zones and whatnot. Told them, no, you can't fly over your own people and bomb your own people. America got a history of that. They flew over Tulsa, was that Tulsa? And bombed the black town. So they know how ugly that is. But listen to what he said about Gaddafi.
Gaddafi was my friend. He was my brother. She lied. He was going to kill all his people. No, he wasn't. He was just going to kill those rebels that America seized on their dissatisfaction.
Did you hear that? He wasn't going to kill all of them. He just going to kill the rebels. But why? One thing I will say is that, I mean, you can see that the U.S. changed a little. That civil war is not the answer. It only will weaken the nation because you're killing your own brother. But you remember when those Clive and Bundy's sons, they went there and all of them had their guns and stuff, and the federal agents were sent in. And you know, the president, them people to go and disarm them people, because they knew that was going to be a bloodbath. They didn't try to go in there and kill up all of them people. You say they was white. Well, it don't make no difference. Yeah, they was white. Whose country is this? Now you know whose country it is. So I mean, he'd be a fool to go in there and murder all his people just because they disagree. And it's just like with me. If I was in the military and you declared war on my people, you ain't gonna get me to go shoot my people. That ain't gonna happen. I don't care what your rank is. But anyway, now he's sitting up there talking about Gaddafi was his friend. Let me show you what Gaddafi tried to do. Well, I'll let you finish hearing this, but remember, make me come back to that.
Made a counter-revolutionary move and then used it to bring NATO in to bomb and destroy his air defense and then move to kill him. Now Libya is a failed state. All the refugees fleeing out of Syria, fleeing out of Libya, fleeing out of North Africa is because of policies of the government of the United States of America and her specific.
No. Now I'll go along with part of it, the instability of the Middle East is because of the policies that America's government did, going over there, starting that war in Iraq when they didn't have no business going in there. They went in there on a lie. The Bush administration lied about weapons of mass destruction being there, and it was none. And so that whole thing, make no difference what the reasons after you did it. The reason that you gave before you did it was that you knew that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. And even when then Senator Obama and I think Bernie Sanders both, they opposed that war. And Ms. Clinton, she went along with President Bush. I'm pretty sure some friendship existed there, that she trusted him, to be telling the truth. And she as good as said that. She said he was my president, and at that time I assumed he had more information than me. And when he said he needed to, we needed to go in there, gave him my vote. Well, just remember something. The President of the United States, the way that office really works, a lot of people don't know this, but he got in office by the majority of the American people's vote. Naturally, whatever he wants to do, short of destroying America, the way it have worked in the past is that, like Jimmy Carter said, he got cooperation from both sides of the aisle. He was the president, the buck gonna stop with him. And so if you're gonna blame him for how things turned out, you got to give him what he wants. And so he's in there by the majority of the American people's vote. So he gets the majority of the cooperation when he's ready to do something. If he put forth, this is what we're going to do, they make it happen, as long as it's not against the law against the Constitution. Do you understand? That's the way it used to work. Then when President Obama get in there, they know the people are ignorant. They don't know how the government go. And so when the president went there for to raise the debt ceiling, John Boehner come out there giving the American people a snow job. When he came and said that he wanted to raise the debt ceiling, we said, not so fast. So fast. As though that was his doing. Congress the one made the debt ceiling go up. And the president just told him it's time to pay the bill. But then make it look like he was trying to make some bills and whatnot. When that's not his job. His job is to make sure the bills get paid. In so many words, you go to Congress and tell them we need to pay this, we need to do that. But their job is to say what we're going to spend money on. That's not his job. He can request, but they had the last word. He made the bill, and he told them, well, it's time to pay it. No, not so fast. We're going to make you a one-term president. Because these people, these foolish American people don't know that we made the bill. Then he came out and told on them. Oh, praises due to Allah. But anyway, just listen. Yes. No, don't worry about it.
Now, when they release all those emails that they haven't released yet, it'll show you how she maneuvered our president.
Did you hear that? She maneuvered President Obama. Have they forgotten that President Obama had, has he forgotten that President Obama had what you call debates with her? President Obama ran against her. Do you honestly think that he's the kind of person that you can maneuver? Is he reactionary? Most people that you can manipulate and move without touching them are people who have buttons that you can push. You know, that you can set off without them thinking. They are called reactionary people. You know, intelligent, when you're dealing with an intelligent human being, a really intelligent person, I would advise you to never try to manipulate them, because you may lose a good friend when they find out that that's the kind of person you are. But anyway, I think President Obama and Ms. Clinton, they have respect for each other. And they may not agree on everything, just like Bernie Sanders. You notice, they never thought that either one of them, he or Ms. Clinton, ever really thought that either one of them was not qualified to be president. How does it make Ted Cruz look, or any of those, Christie, what's his name? Chris Christie, or Marco Rubio, or any of them who said that when they was running against Donald Trump, that he was not qualified to be president. All of them agreed on that. How does it look for them to be now out there talking about endorsing him? Now, there's somebody who you can't trust. Just listen.
And maybe you won't think so well of her when you see how she talked to him. White people don't talk to black people. I don't give a damn what position you got, like you the boss. They always talk to you like they're the boss.
Now, this is a man who wants to claim that he is some representative for Allah. There's certain things, there's certain way of speaking that you cannot do. As the book says, evil communications corrupts good manners. But anyway, watch this.
The only way you'll ever be the boss if you come and submit to Allah and follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and come on in tonight with me.
You notice, he throw the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's name out there. Talking about submit to Allah and follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and come on, unite with me. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad ain't united with him. Why you think I'm the only one that played the tapes from the messenger and let you hear him agree with me? These people he name dropped because his name, he has no real name for accomplishing anything. Let me let you hear something else here. Now, he said the only thing the Democrats got, only thing we got out of as the Democrats did for us was gave us a president. Now, let's see.
Hi, everybody. As 2014 comes to an end, we can enter the new year with new confidence that America is making significant strides where it counts. The steps we took nearly 6 years ago to rescue our economy and rebuild it on a new foundation helped make 2014 the strongest year for job growth since the 1990s. Over the past 57 months, our businesses have created nearly 11 million new jobs. And in a hopeful sign for middle-class families, wages are on the rise again. Our investments in American manufacturing have helped fuel its best stretch of job growth since the 90s. America is now the #1 producer of oil and gas, saving drivers about 70 cents a gallon at the pump over last Christmas. The auto industry we rescued is on track for its strongest year since 2005. Thanks to the Affordable Care Act, about 10 million Americans have gained health insurance in the past year alone. And since I took office, we've cut our deficits by about 2/3. Meanwhile, around the world, America is leading. We're leading the coalition to degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL. We're leading the global fight to combat the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. We're leading global efforts to address climate change, including last month's joint announcement with China. We're turning a new page in our relationship with the Cuban people. And in less than 2 weeks, after more than 13 years, our combat mission in Afghanistan will be over, and our war there will come to a responsible end. Today, more of our troops are home for the holidays than at any time in over a decade. Still, many of our men and women in uniform will spend this Christmas in harm's way. And as Commander-in-Chief, I want our troops to know your country is united in our support and gratitude for you and your families. The 6 years since the financial crisis have demanded hard work and sacrifice on everyone's part. But as a country, we have every right to be proud of what we've got to show for it. More jobs, more insured, a growing economy, shrinking deficits, bustling industry, booming energy. Pick any metric you want. America's resurgence is real, and we now have the chance to reverse the decades-long erosion of middle-class jobs and incomes. We just have to invest in the things we know will secure even faster growth in higher-paying jobs for more Americans. We have to make sure our economy, our justice system, and our government work not only for a few, but for all of us. And I look forward to working together with the new Congress next year on these priorities. We'll disagree on some things. We'll have to compromise on others. I'll act on my own when it's necessary. But I'll never stop trying to make life better for people like you. Because thanks to your efforts, a new foundation is laid. A new future is ready to be written. We have set the stage for a new American moment. And I'm going to spend every minute of my last 2 years making sure we seize it. On behalf of the Obama family, I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. Thanks, and have a wonderful holiday season.
That's Farrakhan claimed it just was sitting in the White House. He didn't do nothing. Yeah? Okay. Now let me let you hear who he called his friend. Now, watch this.
Just as his black brothers and sisters have suffered down the years, he has been even more bitter about America's Jews. But even though many Americans, black and white, perceive him as a racist, this leader of the Nation of Islam, with his million-man march last October, made himself a force to be reckoned with. In person, this rather private man can come across as earnest and reasonable in professing his desire for a true reconciliation between the races and religions in America.
What did he say about being sweet? Remember that? Yeah.
But almost everything he says has been drowned out by the current controversy over his recent meetings in the Middle East with sworn enemies of the United States. Tomorrow, Minister Farrakhan embarks on a nationwide tour to explain his motives for that trip and to blunt the criticism that has led the Justice Department to investigate whether he must now register as a foreign agent.
For me to register as a foreign agent is to give America control over what I say. And that's what America wants, is control over what I say. In the foreign agent law.
Before I let this continue, I have quite a bit I want to share. And Brother Derek, see if it'd be possible that we stay on there an extra hour. If not, it's okay. I understand. You know, just.
You can't influence public opinion. That's my business, to influence public opinion, especially when liars are deceiving the American people. So no, I will never register as a foreign agent because I'm not that.
Farrakhan says he does not worry about what the government thinks of his traveling to Tehran, where he spoke to millions of Iranians celebrating the 17th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution, an uprising that led to the taking of the U.S. hostages. Or about his much publicized visit to Baghdad to confer with Iraq's Saddam Hussein. On his return home to Chicago in February, he would explain himself only to his brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam.
My job was to get up quickly and get out of America and connect the Nation of Islam and Black America to Africa, to the Middle East, and to the Muslim world. That was why I had to go.
And one of the first places he went to was Libya.
And that wasn't the truth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had already connected us to Africa and Asia. Don't you remember how well Muhammad Ali was received all over the world? When he went to over there to the country, what's that country in Africa, for that last fight with Foreman. But they knew about him way over there. They knew about that man all over the earth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had already connected Zaire's. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had already connected us to the world. Minister Farrakhan, him and Wallace and them, they actually destroyed that connection. They destroyed the respect that the rest of the world was developing for the Nation of Islam. When you let them people come in here and take over your mosque and get you to call the Honorable Elijah Muhammad a liar and all of that kind of thing, they lost respect for you. You see the kind of respect they showing me, they shut their mouth at me. They hear me in these other countries telling them that they're not Muslims. They don't understand Islam. Used to come in here trying to tell us that if you have an English translation of the Holy Quran, you can't really, that's not the real Quran. That's the lie they come here trying to tell us. And most of them went for it. Got these Negroes over here thinking that because they can speak Arabic, that make them understand the Holy Quran. That's just like somebody who speaks English, and that because you speak English, do that make you understand electrical engineering? But they know that you've got to be a fool to have had a messenger of God do the things for you and me that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did for us, and then all of these so-called wise ministers threw it all away and let them people give you something that was here 1,400 years ago. The messenger said, Islam of Muhammad of 1,400 years ago served that time. new Islam to serve this day. I'm the only one that's got that new Islam against anything you can offer and make you shut your mouth. Because I certainly know what you know, but you don't have any clue to what I know.
Where he received a warm welcome from Muammar Gaddafi. The Libyan news agency, JANA, reported Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi saying the following: "Our confrontation with America used to be like confronting a fortress from outside. Today we have found a loophole to enter the fortress from within." You are a loophole for Muammar Gaddafi, who you say offered you $1 billion, who has in the past given you $5 million.
He offered me more than $1 billion. He offered me the wealth of the nation of Libya behind the nation of Islam.
You are a loophole for Muammar Gaddafi.
Did you hear what he offered him all that money for? Just listen. You know, this was his friend, his so-called friend. Now remember, Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was trying to borrow money, and he said he would pay 10%, 10 cents on the dollar, Gaddafi came up with $3 million. The messenger said, when you hear about the Muslim government loaning us $3 million, that's like a man loaning you $3 when you needed 100. And then he said, the people will regret their non-help to us. He said, I could tell you of a time that Allah have promised me millions and millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. He said, don't have to leave out of the country for it. It's right here in America. He said, he will release it, certainly on time. Now, Gaddafi had a chance to help the Nation of Islam under the guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and decided to give us a $3 million loan. But he offered to give billions of dollars if we go commit suicide. Let me show you. This is his friend.
Minister Farrakhan, who is he and why is he saying all those things? Ask him.
We haven't had this many, I'm not sure what the mission of this chap is standing back here, but I don't want him angry at me.
I think they get the job because they look mean.
Well, guess who's here? This is a man who will tell you that he is perhaps not the most popular personality in America, but let the record show that he's drawing larger crowds. And should we be surprised? Less than 10% of Black Americans voted for President Reagan in the last election. Should we be surprised that people of color feel perhaps more than they have in a long time a certain alienation from mainstream America? Nobody's here to say that they could ever have claimed total participation, but it does seem to be worse now. Could that explain the recent increase in the number of people who are listening to the Minister Louis Farrakhan? Minister Farrakhan is, as you know, with the Nation of Islam and has made an awful lot of people angry. He spends half his life now trying to explain what he said. Is that purposeful? What did he say about the Jews? And did he say something positive about Hitler? And what's going on here? We'll ask him that question and others and give you an opportunity to do the same. We are in New York City with the Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Okay, where do you begin with Minister Farrakhan? What kind of, do we have a shot at an integrated America where we really do get rid of these fears? Do you think we have a chance at that? Have you given up on that?
If there's justice in America for blacks, then blacks will be contented with America. If there's injustice, continued injustice and oppression, blacks will continue this disaffection with the United States.
But my reading of your position is, I have the feeling that you've really given this up as a possibility, and that you're looking for a black nation with black ownership of business and black control of the financial destiny of the membership.
Not at all.
See that? Now you're going to tell me that this is the man that the messenger told you was coming, huh? So if he didn't gave up on nationhood, well then who's going to fulfill the prayer of Abraham? The messenger raised up the idea of nation of Islam. Well, the book says that the nation of Islam, and I'm talking about our book, the student enrollment. What is the birth record of the said nation of Islam? The said nation of Islam has no birth record. It has no beginning nor ending. I am the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord. Farrakhan say, not at all. He's not looking for no nation. You know, that's the one thing about the reproductive process. Most of the life germs always go in the wrong direction.
Separation is an ultimate solution. It is an extreme solution. However, if we can get freedom, justice, and equality within the social, political, and economic order of the United States, that would be better.
So Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us. He said, we want our people who are the descendant, whose parents or grandparents were the descendants of slaves. We want them to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory, either here or elsewhere, to ourselves, and that this government is obligated to provide the necessities for us for the next 20 to 25 years, or until we are able to provide those things for ourselves. Considering that we have given them 300 or more years of free labor, and now we work for them, and most of us live on subsistence. We try to go in business. They secretly price us out of business. Wholesale and do like other people do. They jack our prices up so much that they know we can't make it in business. And this is the kind of way this is the way we have been treated. You don't hear no white people coming in here telling me I'm lying. You don't hear them coming in here accusing me of anything. And if you do have something that you can accuse me of, come in here. You'll be just like this man accusing Miss Clinton of being wicked with no proof at all. Just accusing her because he didn't expect nobody to say nothing. If I accuse you of something, you don't want me to go into depth. Because I ain't going on no hearsay. I'll use your own words on you. Now, listen to what, you remember what he said Gaddafi was his friend? Let's listen.
You continue to hold out the, can a white person be a member of the Nation of Islam? You're in it. There are white Muslims. Yes, there are. Well, you're smiling. It hasn't always been that way. Okay, all right. If that's the case, then why are you going out of your way you invited Gaddafi to speak to your assembly in Chicago on closed-circuit television? Yes. And he encouraged the 400,000 black Americans who serve in the armed forces of the United States to revolt and fight the oppressor, and he'd help them, finance them with munitions.
That's what that billions of dollars and the resources of Libya was for, that he was offering Minister Farrakhan. Let me tell you something. If you ask the average, ask him, Minister Farrakhan, or any of these people who advocate war, that we do that instead of listening to what the messenger of God said do. Do you honestly think that because you might have a large force, even if you had an endless supply of weapons and whatnot, do you know what it takes to fight a war? You don't have no history of doing that. They're not just fought by armies. What happens when someone gets wounded? You need doctors, right? What can the doctors do for you without bandages and the supplies that they need to have? You don't have no manufacturing places to do that. To let people bait you into going into that kind of war is suicide. Allah told me through his messenger, he said, don't even carry a penknife. He said, if there's any fighting to be done, he said, I will do that for you. And he also promised that no weapon that they have, as long as you obey him, no weapon that they have will prosper against you. He will do them just like the prophecy said. Pharaoh and his army got drowned. Huh? Do you know what drowning? You think drowning has always got something to do with that physical water out there. When you get into so much troubles, figure out no way out of it. Are you aware that you're drowning? The troubles that you're in requires you to have knowledge, which is spiritual water. You need to be able to come above that, to get it under your control. If it's over your head, then the knowledge of how to fix it you don't have, then you are drowning. Do you understand? All right. But anyway, Gaddafi wouldn't loan the messenger any worthwhile amount to help us build something. But he offered Farrakhan billions to get us to go kill ourselves. And he thinks Gaddafi was his friend. The worst thing that he could have done was offered to finance the people of God who have been enslaved and afflicted and all that, to finance our suicide. That's the worst thing that he could have done. And in the end, his people dragged him out and killed him because he tried to set us up to be killed. And talked about Farrakhan. See, Farrakhan didn't say no, Gaddafi didn't say that. But look what was that Mike Wallace? Let's go back and see what Mike Wallace said about it again. No.
Just as his black brothers and sisters have suffered down the years, he has been even more bitter about America's Jews to show to the world.
If they're on the road to reconciliation,
Africa, and it is. It could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
oh, and now, Mr.
Muammar Gaddafi.
Well, I don't know what he means by loophole. Maybe you are.
Gaddafi, the Libyan news agency, Journal, reported Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi saying the following: "Our confrontation with America used to be like confronting a fortress from outside. Today we have found a loophole to enter the fortress from within." You are a loophole for Muammar Gaddafi?
In other words, Gaddafi was wanting to use him. And he called that his friend. So, you know, I'm going to let you see something else here from Miss Rachel Maddow. This will help you to understand how much the president has did for us.
When people look back on the Bill Clinton years as a generally positive thing in our country, when people feel good about the Bill Clinton presidency, honestly, it's basically because of this. These are the annual jobs totals year by year for the Bill Clinton presidency. See, the Clinton numbers there are in blue. The red years before him and the red years after him, those are the two Republican presidents who he was in between, right? George Bush Sr. was before him, George Bush Jr. was after him. And when you see the job numbers like this, it's really clear why, whatever else you think of Bill Clinton, people tend to have sort of a general, warm, fuzzy feeling about the time that was his presidency. It's because the economy was really good. There were lots of jobs being created, especially compared to the Republican years before him and after him. I mean, in terms of the years before him, Bobby Bush, as you can see there from the jobs numbers, right? He started off okay. Then things really went south in his third year, and eventually he dug out a little bit before Clinton took over. George W. Bush started off in the dumps there, dug out a little bit over the first 2-3 years, and then got a little bit, and then right at the end, just off the cliff, right, before he left office. I mean, you look at Bill Clinton compared to both Presidents Bush, and he was like roses every year. Spectacular job growth every year when Bill Clinton was president. Times were good. Times were great. Incidentally, if Hillary Clinton does run for president, this is why Republicans are going to try to rewrite the history of the Clinton presidency. So now that the only thing that happened is Monica Lewinsky, because they really don't want you to remember what the economy was like and that whole peace and prosperity thing under the other President Clinton. So that's why they have to rewrite the history of the Clinton presidency to make it only about bad things, because the really big good things are what they don't want people to associate with the name Clinton. Put the thing back up there. Yeah, right. Okay. So this is what it looks like. This is Bobby Bush and then Bill Clinton and then George W. Bush. This is what it looks like if you add in our current president, President Obama. Now, President Obama, look at the first line, 2009, started off in the absolute depths of the worst financial catastrophe since the Great Depression. But, in pretty short order, turned it around and has been putting out pretty good jobs numbers ever since.
You remember Farrakhan said all we got was the president? Well, ain't that what we needed? See, without saying it, he did say it, didn't he? We really got a president, didn't we? And look what he did. And that graph there shows it all.
And a whole bunch of new data just came out today, which now says that this year, 2014, is set to be the best year for jobs in this country since Bill Clinton, since 1999. As of the new data that we've got right now, as of today, more jobs have been created this year than in any year of the Bush-Cheney presidency, or any year of the Bobby Bush presidency. More jobs have been created this year than 2 of the years under the boom of Bill Clinton. AP today looked at the new numbers that are just out and calls them boom-like numbers. In the Washington Post, quote, "This is what a real recovery looks like." In the New York Times today, "Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah from your friends at the Bureau of Labor Statistics." The Times quotes one Wall Street economist today saying, quote, "In one line, spectacular." And the new numbers that came out today, not just a blip, this is now the 10th straight month, the 10th month in a row that the economy has added at least 200,000 jobs for the month. Months of job growth that strong. There's not been a run like that in our economy since 1995. We haven't had 10 months where every month had 200,000 jobs since 1995. But we've got it right now. So, big picture, you want to take it even bigger than that, like global big picture? The AP calls the latest economic data that just came out today, quote, "the latest evidence that the United States is outperforming other economies throughout the developed world." And although one of the political process complaints about this White House is that they're not that good at tooting their own horn and taking credit when things go right, President Obama today did engage in a little gleeful horn tooting about this very subject.
The United States continues to outpace most of the world. Over the last 4 years, we've put more people back to work than Europe, Japan, and all other industrialized advanced countries combined. And we're going to keep at it.
President Obama today at the White House, crowing in his very somber way about the really, really good jobs numbers that just came out. The economy making more jobs right now than at any time since the Clinton years. Best jobs numbers in 15 years. And jobs numbers are a really high-profile statistic. Everybody watches those when it comes to the economy, right? The only number that anybody watches more than jobs numbers when it comes to the economy is the price of gas. And at the same time that we are getting these great numbers about job growth, sustained, maybe even boom-level job growth, at the same time, we are also seeing gas prices drop in some places below $2 a gallon. The national average is still over $2 a gallon, but some places have started to drop below the $2 benchmark. And the gas price analysts say that the prices are actually going to continue to drop around the country as oil prices just stay really low. And that is terrible news if your name is Exxon. But it's great news if you're the average American family. Gas prices have dropped enough that if they stay where they are right now, the average American family is going to save $600 over the next year on gas alone. That's like giving a tax-free raise across the board to everybody in the country who drives a car. And on top of that, for the first time, actual non-metaphorical wages are going up as well. This has been one of the big problems in the recovery since the Great Recession. Even as corporate earnings have gone up, Wall Street's gone through the roof, things like executive compensation have gone through the roof, wages for average folks and average families haven't gone up during the recovery. Recovery overall has been getting better, right? People's everyday paychecks haven't been getting better. Wages are still nowhere near where they ought to be given the rest of the economy, but amid all of the good economic numbers that came out today, the other piece of good news that we got is that wages have started to turn north as well, finally. Look at the New York Times today, front page headline, "More jobs and higher wages. U.S. recovery starts to hit home." The LA Times today, front page, "Americans' earnings are rising again." And I referenced the stock market there going through the roof. Stock market gets overstated because it's so easy to check, right? So easy to understand. Stock market is not the end-all be-all measure of how things are going in the economy, but the stock market's on fire right now. The Dow Jones brushed up against 18,000 today. The Dow's been hitting records over and over and over again over the past few weeks. It looks like it is about to top 18,000 for the first time ever. For perspective, on the day President Obama was sworn into office, the Dow closed at 7,949. The Dow closed today at almost exactly 10,000 points higher than when President Obama took office. 10,010 are the number of points that have been added to the Dow Jones Industrial Average since President Obama's first day in office. And you look at numbers like these, right? You look at the basics. You look at the really easy to understand economic indicators. And it's kind of hard to square that information with the results of the last election, right? I mean, yes, the president's party always does poorly in midterms. In 2010, the president said the Democrats got shellacked. In 2014, it's like they got shellack-a-lacked, like you double it. The Democrats got destroyed in the midterm elections last month. Even in the midst of all this really positive, fundamental, basic, easy to understand, big picture economic data in the country. Election was last month, despite sort of all the good news. Where are we now since the election? Since the election, the good economic data that we had even on election day has gotten even better. This is the best economic portrait of the economy since the boom years of the 1990s. Gas prices since the election have fallen even further, and it looks like they're going to keep going down. Nobody likes to think of healthcare as an economic issue, but the healthcare numbers absolutely are. Since the election, we've learned that healthcare spending last year in 2013 grew slower than at any time in the last 50 years. The uninsured rate between this year and this time last year fell by over 30%. Has huge economic implications for the economy as a whole and for individual American families. And then beyond the economy, there's everything the White House has been able to pull off politically just since the election. President Obama one-on-one negotiating this historic, totally unexpected, huge climate deal with China. They said it couldn't be done. He did it. There was the secret mission President Obama authorized where he sent the Director of National Intelligence to go to North Korea and negotiate the release of the last American who was being held prisoner in North Korea. It was a secret mission. We didn't know it was happening, let alone that it was successful, until James Clapper brought the dude home from North Korea. All year long before the elections, the Republicans were trying to make Benghazi the terrible, defining scandal of the Obama administration. Well, right after the election, the Friday before Thanksgiving, the Republicans very quietly released their own House Intelligence Committee report on Benghazi, which said, actually, everything we thought was a scandal isn't really a scandal. Never mind. Up to the election and right after the election, Republicans were pounding their chests, threatening it would be the end of the world. It would be a fiery explosion of untold nuclear explosive magnitude if President Obama even thought about taking action on immigration. Our friends at Fox News had whipped themselves into a frenzy that President Obama inevitably would have to be impeached if he did anything on immigration. Senators like Tom Coburn exclaimed with some alarm that if the president acted on immigration, there would be anarchy. There could be violence across the country in response. President Obama did it anyway. He made his announcement about changes to immigration policy. He did it 16 days after the election. And it turns out the country kind of liked it. The first CNN poll that came out after the announcement showed that 50% of Americans thought what President Obama did was about right. Another 22% thought he didn't do quite enough. They'd like him to do more. You combine those numbers, that's 72% of the country either digging it or wanting the president to do even more. Republicans were sure, and the Beltway believed them, Republicans were sure that there would be a wholesale, coast-to-coast freakout if President Obama announced changes to immigration policy. They could not believe he would even try such a thing. He'd be destroying his entire presidency. He'd be impeached. That one action would unify the whole country against him. It would certainly unify all Republicans against him. It has not worked out that way. Republicans, turns out, have no idea what they want to do in response or if they want to do anything in response. And actually, to be more precise about this, there are some Republicans who really know for sure that they want to do nothing in response. And there are other Republicans who really know for sure that they definitely have to do something in response. And now they're at war. So President Obama got the policy he wanted, and he reaped the additional political benefit of completely dividing his opponents to the point where they are at war with one another on this subject right now and have no idea how to move forward.
Well, you see, so people who say that President Obama didn't do nothing or whatnot. It's just like they've finally told the truth about Benghazi, that there was no nothing foul happened there. But they just was out lying to the people, lying on Miss Clinton. So now any of you that want to rebut anything that I had to say, I welcome you to come on in here. You know, this is not a bigoted arena here. And you know I'm not above saying I heard wrong and got some bad information and someone pointed out to me. You know I'll come back and play it and tell you, you know, this is what was really said. And if it changes what I will change my mind. You know, it's not a thing that I'm not, you know, the truth is not my truth or your truth. It's the truth, period. It's an object separate from either one of us. When it get to be yours and mine, it's like I heard some of the Caucasians say this. We're all entitled to our opinion, but we're not entitled to our own facts. There's no your facts and my facts. It's just facts. Do you understand? You see, it's not your truth and my truth. It's simply the truth or it is not. You see. So, you know, I'm not a person who considers a man that would try to get me, would try to use me to get those who trust me to kill themselves. All because he would rather use us as pawns. Try to, as he said, this is a fortress, and he think he found a loophole. Well, only snakes can get through loopholes. You know, men go through doors. Snakes look for a hole to crawl through. So you can get angry with me all you want. But I haven't did nothing to you all. I haven't did nothing to none of y'all. Y'all been trying to do that to me. You're trying to do this to us. The black man of America ain't got, you can't accuse us of terrorizing or committing tyranny or anything against anyone because we didn't have no power to do it. The only thing we're guilty of is being unjust to ourselves. If I ask the average one of the leaders, all y'all been taught, okay, why is our unemployment worse than everybody else's all over this country? Come on now. I done even taught on it before. And to show you, because you don't listen. That's the question. Why is our unemployment higher than everybody else's? I ain't talking to my followers. I'm talking to all them who refuse to follow me. And let me tell you this too. If you have not called me and told me that you are my follower and you are ready to submit, you're not yet my follower. So I want to hear from those who are not yet my followers. Black people's unemployment is higher than everybody else's. Come on, you always got so much to say against me. And how I'm not, you not no son of man, nigga. That's what they want to say. They usually leave the word nigga off of it. But that's what it's thinking. You know, and that shows you that even though they may call themselves black, in their minds and in their hearts, all I am is a nigga. It's like those who was in the nation and told me that I can't say I'm the son of man. They say, Master Farad Muhammad, the son of man. Then, just like them who tried to tell me Master Farad Muhammad, the messenger said he will live. He said he will live 400 years. So I played that. But the part that he said after that was everything that he will give to us. All that he will give to us. And as I see it, that, see, I don't hear what they hear. What I heard was he will live like Yaqub. Yaqub have lived 6,000 years. But the man, he didn't live but 150 years. He never saw a white man. But the mind that was in Yaqub, the knowledge that he left, lived in his people. Do you understand? And so his name was changed to Israel. You understand? And so it's just like when even after the brother let me, he led me to go back searching again. And Brother Jamar found a clearer tape of that interview where the man asked the messenger, where is Farad living? When on my tape, it only said Farad living. And I assumed he asked the messenger, was Farad still living? But he asked the messenger, where is Farad living? And so, but it didn't really change anything because the messenger said, I don't know. And he said, we just don't know that. And he said, is it a secret or not that it's a secret? You just don't know. He said, no, we just don't know. And so when I heard that, I told you all, y'all heard me. I said, that still does not change anything. You know why? Because if you tell me that he is living, I can still tell you that I didn't get that out of what the messenger said. I know the knowledge that he left here, that's still marching on. That's still living. But if you say he's still physically living, then my next question is to you, where is he? Show him to me. Then what do you say, Mr. Smarty? You see, you don't know. And I don't either. Not that I'm wishing that he's not living. But even if he is living, he already said to the messenger, you don't need me anymore. That's what he told him. The messenger said, oh, yes, I do need you. But who the best knower? And then the messenger realized that his mission was done. And he had to come and find me. And he found me. Just as Master Farad Muhammad found him. And he gave his father, gave him to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he gave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to me to save me. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave me to everybody else. You see? And so that's how that goes. And so, you know, I'm a person who, I know how to get at facts. That's why I can't let him come in here and really say nothing. Because the minute he started talking about this, it's like people that say, well, the messenger is still alive, and he's, okay, show him to me. The messenger told me how to stop that kind of talk. He said, brother, 1 or 2 words can stop that kind of talk. Let me show him to you. Yeah. So, it's a lot of other things I would want to show you. I even got the record here of where the stock market crashed and what it looked like in 2008 for these silly people sitting up talking about President Obama suggesting that his administration didn't accomplish anything. I mean, this is what the crash looked like.
Apple's up more than 6% right now. Google about 3%, but Dell, Intel, Research Motion, and Microsoft are all to the upside. Look how far.
Not this point, 400 points higher. Yes, the market is 4 higher. Last 30 minutes of trading as volatility once again rules today.
Most of the techs this morning, if not all of them, have just exploded to the upside. We are better than 5% to the upside.
Down here about there being no bell. Our market reporters are standing by. Bob Hassani, have you ever seen anything like no bell?
Yeah, that's a little strange here. We're down 1.7% here, loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%. We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%. The stock market is now down 21%.
We're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
2-year note yields went from 190 to 166 in the blink of an eye.
I have never live looked at the Dow Jones Industrial Board and seen a 600-point loss.
Who knows where this is going to end up? I mean, this is volatility we haven't seen, of course, since way before you and I were born, even before our grandparents, 1929.
So almost everything there completely wiped out. And the NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
The Dow traders are standing there watching in amazement, and I don't blame them. The credit market,
676 points down.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
From the financial capital of the world, the opening bell is going to ring in 5 seconds, and to be honest with you, we wish it wouldn't.
Traders here working the phone say a lot of the customers are freaked out, waiting to see how low the Dow will go. They're focused on the Dow, not so focused on OPEC. Yes, OPEC did cut production by 1.5 million barrels per day.
Really, you're seeing just just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure, Yahoo down 8.5%, Cisco 6.5%, Research in Motion 10%.
And we're not getting the bid one, and we're not getting the stock trading, and we see where the buyers are. We're just, every day they're pounding it.
The heightened financial turmoil that we have experienced of late may well lengthen the period of weak economic performance and further increase the risk to growth.
Can't look at it after you buy it. It's so horrible.
We haven't seen anything like this probably since the Great Depression, I think it's fair to say.
We've had an 8-day losing streak in the Dow that in percentage terms puts it on par, close to the loss suffered in that crash in 1987, close to that percentage loss those 2 days in 1929.
Look at the move in Aussie yen just this week. This was 1 week, Maria. This market took 5 years to go higher. It's now down 40%.
What started in America last year has now spread to every part of the world.
We're down 9% today. The ZEX Banks over in Frankfurt is down by 9%. The Paris market down by 9%. Austria, which was briefly suspended earlier on in the day, is down by nearly 11%. This market is as volatile as you'll ever see.
Traders say this is the craziest day they have ever seen in these markets. Veteran traders saying they've never seen anything like it. The movement in oil prices so fast, so furious.
Cicero was right. We're in the last days of this country surviving. And how in the world can we find the billions of dollars that we've borrowed from China and Japan?
We are just seconds to go until the start of trading at the New York Stock Exchange, and stocks are set to kick off lower, a whole lot lower.
eBay is down 6.5%. And really, you're seeing just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure, Yahoo down 8.5%, Cisco 6.5%, Research in Motion 10%.
This could be the most serious recession in decades. And that means life as most...
And all you ungrateful people for what the Obama administration accomplished. Every one of you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. But I say this to President Obama and his whole administration. Y'all might not have been saints, but with what you was working with what you had, I remember the scripture says, the children of this world are wiser in their generation, meaning their generation of knowledge and understanding. To generate knowledge and understanding is to give it out. They are wiser than the children of light. And, you know, President Obama ain't claimed to be no saint. The man eats pig. I mean, you know, I mean, Miss Clinton, no, she's not no saint either. But you all who are saints, I would like to, one of you unmute your phone and tell me you a saint. Let me see how you measure up to these non-saints. Are you aware that the Obama administration restored, you know, when you hear a man say what that man said, he could agree with Cicero. Let me play that back again.
A lot lower.
eBay is down 6.5%. And really, you're seeing just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure, Yahoo down 8.5%, Cisco 6.5%, Research in Motion 10%.
This could be the most serious recession in decades.
Anything like it, the movement in oil prices so fast, so furious.
Cicero was right. We're in the last days of this country surviving. And how in the world can we find the billions of dollars that we've borrowed from China and Japan?
We are just seconds to go.
Now that's the seriousness of what they was looking at. That man was losing hope. Was Jesse Jackson saying keep hope alive? Then why ain't they thanking President Obama and his administration for having kept hope alive, and then pull the country out of that and put the country back on a financial footing that was hopeful. Now they want to trash that. And they're getting you to help them. Well, if you trash it, you deserve everything that's coming to you. There won't be no reprieve next time. You got your chance now. You got a chance to also, America has a chance to send a message to the world that bigotry and racism going to come back strong in this country. Are we against it in this country? We are against it on this planet. We will all be one or nothing. Now, you take your rather. The meek shall inherit the earth. You want to know who the meek are? Jesus said, I am meek and lowly of heart. Heads inherit everything. Your body don't inherit what's left. Your head does. The head of every man is Christ. If Jesus was meek, what was Moses? What was Abraham? What was Lot? And what was David and Solomon and all of them, all of the messengers of God? They are the meek. And they are all with me. The earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. Now, if you hate me, I don't hate you. I just hate the low-down stuff that you do. And I've asked you to stop. I've asked you to let me help you by pouring wisdom in your head that will change your whole state of being, because it will change your state of mind. If you won't let me, well, pretty soon that grace is going to be withdrawn. Okay, I warned you now. Any questions? Well, I thought this was more important than what them little fellas was with the rocks in their pocket was talking about. Young men, I'm telling you all, y'all better quit practicing that Willie Lynch thing. I haven't proven myself to be no enemy to you. I have proven myself to be the greatest friend you have. And if you want to be disrespectful to me, you go right ahead. But the time is running out on you for that. It's not a one of you that can produce a justifiable reason why you would come in here disrespecting me. All right. May Allah bless us all. Keep us safe. If you correct yourself, I have already forgiven you. If you correct yourself. So, it do no good to apologize to somebody who don't have authority to forgive you. I'm the only man on this planet that have authority from Allah to forgive sins. That's because I'm the judge. You can believe it or not. You ain't gonna argue with it. The scripture says that the Son of Man have power on earth to forgive sins. All right. Anybody got something to say, bro? Sir?
Someone said earlier, this is speak.
Well, I gotta let y'all go. Y'all gotta get your rest, and I do too. But I'm so happy. I remember, see, he just proved something that the messenger said when they was trying to tell the messenger how long he had been up there teaching. He said, I thought I was the boss of my time in here, just to find out I got a boss too. He said, a man been teaching 40 years, and one stood up just yesterday and want to tell him how long he should teach. That's wrong. He said they all got to hear his voice. He said there, it wasn't talking about God himself, but his voice through another. And he said, you don't tire me so quickly. I keep you busy trying to think over what I just said. He said, people, when a speaker gets tired of speaking to people and people get tired of listening to him, that's a speaker that's not giving the people nothing to think over. But people don't care how long you speak or teach, just so long as you're giving them something to think over. Now, you wouldn't think I had been in here almost 4 hours because I gave you plenty to think over. And that's why you hear some of the brothers saying, go on, keep speaking. You know, when you get sitting down to a meal and it gets really good to you, you ever sit down and something was so good that you got full and you still wasn't satisfied because your taste buds was still acting up and you kept eating? Then you wind up sitting there, couldn't hardly move, and your stomach so tight that you realize you done messed up. And then you should be asking for forgiveness and asking for some, oh, Allah, please help me to get through this. Is that right? So, you know, when it get good to you, man, you can really eat until you almost hurt yourself. So I'm not saying you can eat from me and hurt yourself. You can't do that. This is the well that you can drink from, and you don't even have to be thirsty. And you can just keep drinking and drinking, and you never get heavy, never get tired, because my burden is light. That's the very nature of the mind, is to crave light. So all praises due to Allah. Yeah. So may Allah, even my screen name is Light Child. That's what I chose for my screen name. And so it's because I'm a child of light, you know. We are here, and you have to admit that you know a whole lot more after meeting me than you knew before you met me. Okay. I even got Donald Trump listening and borrowing stuff I say. But the foolish thing was to try to borrow what I said and use it to your advantage. Now I done told the people what he had on his mind. Huh? Okay. So he was telling his buddies that in so many words, just remember the story of the old woman and the snake. I'm finna go in these Negroes' churches and stuff, and they so tenderhearted. I'll get a few of them, quite a few of them, to vote for me after they after they sell out leaders bring me in here, and I will pretend with them until I get in that office, and then I'm gonna bite every one of them. And that's you know. So he spoke to who he wanted to speak to, but the problem was he never should have touched what I said. See, when you touch my words, see, you don't know that my words are always connected to me. And when you did that, you connected yourself to me. I got you now. So, see, just like Grover Norquist, he was out there listening. Is he still following us on Facebook? Yeah. Yeah, on Twitter? Okay. Yeah, Grover Norquist was listening for a long time. And Donald Trump was listening. We knew he was listening. He didn't just go grab that song. Now, did he? All right, then. So he know I offered him that money to come in here and talk with me. He ain't gonna do it. No. Unlike you, I'll call him what he is. He's a racist. And you know the sad part? A racist really don't care about his own. You know how I can prove it? Watch what happens when he finds one of his own that disagrees with him and tells him he's wrong. He cannot offer a reasonable argument for his position, so he gets angry with that person and considers them deserving of death. But just like, you know, if he was in authority, he'd probably do what Gaddafi was going to do to the rebels. And he said, Farrakhan told you, didn't he? He's going to kill them. You know. So it's okay when you befriend him, but it ain't okay when someone else in America decides to befriend the rebels. You see my point? But that's the way a child's mind operates. I don't. That's a man who's in an arena that he really does not understand. Because on the one hand, he says he loves his people, and on the next hand, he wants to kill his people if they don't agree with him. I don't want to kill black people that don't agree with me. I don't want to kill white people that don't agree with me. I don't want to kill no people. I want to have open dialogue with them and show them that they are wrong. You keep talking about repent and all of that. A dead man can't repent. Only living people, breathing people, can see the error of their ways and repent. I've seen men that was part of the skinheads and Ku Klux Klan come on now 40 and 50 years old saying, man, I was wrong. But if somebody had killed them when they was in that hasty mind filled with half-truths and no truths, they would have never had the chance to come to that realization that they were wrong. No, I don't want Donald Trump to be killed. I don't want nobody to be killed. To reason. If what you believe in is right, why are you afraid to talk with somebody that disagrees with you? Yes. Well, why don't he come in here and express his disagreement? You always got somebody that's a child trying to get into a grown person's conversation. And no, I'm not interested in that right now. No, if he don't want to come talk to me, I don't want to talk to him. You know, it's a different story if a person just leaves a little comment and go on. But wanting to engage me, how you going to engage me typing? Send him the link and let him come in here. So I think that's just, he loved me so much in what I'm teaching. He don't want me to stop, so he says something to try to keep me talking. I know how it is. You know, but that's not necessary. People got to get up in the morning, and there's many people that have work to do. I'm one of them. I don't just stand around talking. I got work to do. And so I got to get me some rest. I got to go drive that dump truck tomorrow. So, you know, like the man that asked me, what have I done? I guess he's still viewing what we've been doing, huh? Yeah. Okay. All right. It takes some time to see what we've been doing, brother. You can't just go on there. You'll be on there all day. So we got plenty to show for what we're doing and what I'm getting ready to do with our school. I'm thinking we're going to put the school online so that parents can, who choose to, can educate their children from home using our teachers. And so just be aware that that's on the drawing board. And there's many things we can do. All we have to do is get together. You know, the greatest defense that you can give to your country is an educated mind, a truly educated mind in all of your people. So that way the sun never set on your people. Do you understand? Okay. So I intend to wise you up. And nobody will be able to manipulate you or talk over your head. You let them talk. And they'll think they're putting something over. You'd be surprised what people tell you when they think they're putting something over. If they think you sleep, think you're stupid. Keep your mouth shut and let them see how stupid they think you are. Do you understand? Okay. All right. So may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.